Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual on Firstpost. Here are the top headlines from across the world. The Israeli military says it has withdrawn its ground troops from southern Gaza Strip, including Khan Yunis. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant has said the troops have pulled out to prepare for future operations in the enclave, including Rafah. This comes as Israel's close ally, US, continues to oppose a large-scale offensive in the city that is sheltering millions of displaced Palestinians. The Israeli Defense Minister has also said that Israel is ready to handle any threats from Iran. This comes as Tehran vowed revenge following an attack on its embassy compound in Syria. Iran has blamed the attack on Israel. Meanwhile, an Iranian minister also threatened that Israeli embassies are no longer safe. According to a report, German civil servants are demanding an end to arms supplies to Israel. A group of German civil servants have written to Chancellor Olaf Scholz and other senior ministers. They have called on the government to cease armed deliveries to Israel immediately. Around 600 civil servants have reportedly voiced their support for the initiative. Thousands of Israelis demonstrated in Tel Aviv, calling on the Netanyahu government to reach a hostage deal. During the demonstrations, a car rammed through dozens of protesters, knocking several people down to the ground. At least 5 people were injured in the incident. The Israeli police has said that the driver has been arrested. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has arrived in China. The Russian Foreign Minister is expected to meet his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi. According to the Russian Foreign Ministry, the leaders will speak on a series of topics. These include the Ukraine war and tensions in the Asia-Pacific. The United States held a joint maritime exercise with Japan, Australia and the Philippines. The countries held a one-day drill in the South China Sea on Sunday. It was held within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone in the South China Sea. The exercises involved anti-submarine warfare training and communication activities. Meanwhile, the Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said the conclusion of the maritime exercise will likely reduce tensions with China. He's called on Beijing to hold a dialogue to ease hostility in the South China Sea. Marcos added that this will help prevent more incidents like the ramming of vessels and using of water cannons in the disputed region. A senior Australian lawmaker met with Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen. During the meeting, the Australian official touched upon the sensitive subject of security cooperation. He said that amid a changing political landscape, security cooperation between Australia and Taiwan is quote-unquote paramount. South Korea has launched its second spy satellite into space. This comes amid its heightened animosity with North Korea. Last year, both countries launched their first spy satellites. While Pyongyang launched it in November, Seoul's launch followed closely in December. The country had said that the spy satellites would boost their abilities to monitor each other. Donald Trump's campaign said it raised more than $50 million during a fundraising event this weekend. It set a record for the biggest single-day fundraiser yet. The event eclipsed Joe Biden's fundraiser with former presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton in New York last weekend. Biden had raised over $26 million at the event. One man has been arrested for starting a fire outside the office of U.S. lawmaker Bernie Sanders. The accused entered the building and headed to Sanders' office on the 3rd floor. Security footage showed him spraying a liquid near the door and setting it alight. Mexico has welcomed the return of its Ecuador embassy personnel. The officials returned after Mexico and Ecuador abruptly broke ties last week. This after Ecuadorian police raided the Mexican embassy in the capital Quito to arrest graft-accused former Vice President George Glass. Earlier in the day, Glass was offered formal asylum protection by Mexico. Ecuador called the move unlawful and illicit. In climate, the Supreme Court of India stated that climate change affects a person's right to life. The statement came over a petition filed by wildlife activists to protect the great Indian bustard. The court also emphasized that India must focus on clean energy initiatives as people have the right to live a life free from climate change. According to a report by London-based environmental investigation agency, climate warming refrigerant gases are being illegally smuggled into Europe. These pollutants are coming from China and Turkey. The chemicals used in these gases are used for cooling industry and the retail sector. Parts of the United Kingdom and Ireland were hit by Storm Kathleen over the weekend. The storm came with gusts of wind which led to the cancellation of over 70 flights across the United Kingdom. In Liverpool's Mersey River, giant waves were seen forming in the water. Videos also showed vehicles being hit by overtopping waves on a highway. Storm Kathleen is the 11th named storm of the season. The Russian government has declared an emergency in the flood-hit region of Orenburg. The floods were caused by rising water levels in the Ural River. Over 4,000 people were forced to evacuate Orenburg to move to safety. The regional government says the flood has caused damage worth more than $200 million. Meanwhile, in Australia's South Wales region, a natural disaster was declared due to widespread flooding. This led to the rescue of over hundreds of people in 300 homes. Over 5,000 volunteers have been deployed to help the government. This is the region's seventh flood in the last 18 months. Meanwhile, torrential rain has caused flooding in southern China. Houses and streets in the low-lying areas of Guangdong province were submerged in water due to the continuous downpour. The provincial meteorological department activated a low-level emergency response to handle this situation. A town in Austria experienced the country's earliest ever recorded heat day in 2024. Heat day is when mercury levels touch at least 30 degrees Celsius. The town became the nation's first place to hit a temperature of 30 degrees Celsius this early in the year. Austria has attributed this to climate change. Authorities in Greece have raised their wildlife alert to high risk. This comes after dozens of blazes broke out in the region. Over 71 fires were recorded in a span of 12 hours. According to the ministry, strong winds in the region are making the situation extremely dangerous for the outbreak of fires. 3 people sustained minor injuries as a result of the fire. On to business and tech news. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen ended her China trip with a press briefing in Beijing. Yellen said that the U.S. would not accept subsidized Chinese products. She repeated her concerns over cheap Chinese goods flooding the global market. On the last day of a 4-day trip, Yellen met with China's central bank chief Pan Gongsheng. During the trip, she also met Chinese Premier Li Qiang and Finance Minister Lan Fuan. A petition has been filed to dissolve Chinese real estate developer Shimao Group. The petition was filed by China Construction Bank. Shimao is accused of not paying over $200 million in debt to the bank. The firm has already defaulted on nearly $12 billion in foreign debt. This comes as the Chinese property sector has been mired in crisis. Australia has proposed a new mandatory code of conduct for big supermarket chains. Grocery chains like Woolworths, Coles and Metcash will come under the new rules. The Code of Conduct lays down rules for grocery chains to deal with farmers and other suppliers. Australian farmers have long complained about grocery chains offering them unfair prices for their products. The new rules propose over $6 million in fines on firms if they violate the Code of Conduct. Norwegian companies have reached a new wage deal with the country's largest trade union, the Norwegian Confederation of Trade Unions. The deal proposes to hike workers' salaries by 5.2% in 2024. It is expected to benefit around 14,000 private sector workers in the country. The wage deal also averts a major strike proposed by the workers' union. Boeing is facing yet another probe by the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration. This is over a recent incident involving a Boeing 737-800 jet operated by the Southwest Airlines. The engine cover of a flight fell off mid-air in the U.S. city of Denver yesterday. The incident adds to a series of mishaps involving Boeing 737 jets this year. The plane maker is battling a number of investigations over recent incidents. The FAA has restricted Boeing's 737 jet production capacity. The crisis has also prompted the firm's CEO to step down. Canadian factory workers of plane maker Airbus have rejected a new wage contract put forward by the firm. Workers are demanding higher salaries and better working conditions. Workers have also slowed down production at the facility to pressurize the firm. This comes as Airbus is trying to expand its production at the facility to fulfill rising jets orders. Tata Group-owned Air India is reportedly planning to send some of its pilots to Vistara Airlines. This comes as Vistara is dealing with an acute shortage of pilots. Most of the airline's pilots have reportedly taken a leave of absence. They've been protesting against a new wage contract offered by the firm. Yesterday, Vistara said it would reduce its daily flights to around 10% of its total capacity. The Brazilian Supreme Court has opened an inquiry against Elon Musk. Musk is accused of not following a court order involving his social media platform X. Earlier, the Brazilian Supreme Court had ordered X to block certain accounts in the country. However, Musk opposed the decision, calling it unconstitutional. The court has threatened the firm with massive fines if it fails to comply with the order. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced a $1.8 billion investment to boost the country's artificial intelligence capabilities. A major chunk of the investment will be used to enhance Canada's AI infrastructure. Trudeau has said that the investment will help create AI jobs in the country. US lawmakers have agreed on a new data privacy bill. The bill has been under debate in the US Congress since 2019. The latest draft of the bill proposes to restrict tech firms from selling personal user data. It mandates tech firms to inform users if their data is being transferred to any foreign firm. The bill also gives US regulators more power to deal with consumer privacy issues. Moving to sports, we start with cricket and the Indian Premier League. Lucknow Super Giants beat Gujarat Titans by 33 runs on Sunday. LSG opted to bat first and posted 163 with all-rounder Marcus Stoinis hitting a fine half-century. Gujarat were restricted at 130 in 18.5 overs. Pacer Yash Thakur destroyed Gujarat batters by scalping 5 wickets. Lucknow Super Giants' new pace sensation Mayank Yadav faced an injury setback. He suffered a side strain during Sunday's IPL match when Lucknow took on Gujarat Titans. Mayank came to blow in the 4th over of Titans' innings. He conceded 13 runs in that over and did not play after that, even as LSG beat GT. Meanwhile, Mumbai Indians won against Delhi Capitals by 29 runs. Mumbai was put to bat first after Delhi's skipper Rishabh Pant won the toss. Rohit Sharma's knock of 49 and Ishan Kishan's 42 helped Mumbai post a total of 234 runs. Delhi retaliated through half-centuries from Prithvi Shaw and Tristan Stubbs, but it went in vain after they were bundled out for 205 for 8. In football, Liverpool played out a 2-2 draw against Manchester United in Sunday's Premier League match. Luis Diaz struck the first goal to put Liverpool ahead in the first half. Bruno Fernandes levelled in the 50th minute before Kobe Meno doubled the lead for United. Mohamed Salah came to Liverpool's rescue with his goal to end the match in a draw. Sheffield United held off Chelsea to a 2-2 draw in the Premier League. Thiago Silva opened scoring for Chelsea just 11 minutes into the game. Jayden Bogley evened the score in the 32nd for Sheffield United. Chelsea restored the lead again in the 66th minute through Noni Madueke. But Sheffield salvaged the draw via Ollie McBurney, who scored a stoppage-time equaliser. Arsenal crushed Brighton 3-0 in the Premier League this weekend. Bukayo Saka scored a first-half penalty in the 33rd minute. The other two goals came from Kai Havertz and Leandro Trossard. The impressive win took the Gunners on top of the Premier League points table. In tennis, Novak Djokovic became the oldest player to become the world #1 in the history of ATP rankings. This record was previously held by his arch-rival Roger Federer. Djokovic attained this feat on the 7th of April at 36 years and 321 days old. In tennis, India's Sumit Nagal has qualified for the main draw of the Monte Carlo Masters singles. He beat Facundo Diaz-Acosta of Argentina in a 3-setter in the final qualifying round. The grueling match lasted 2 hours and 25 minutes. With that win, Nagal became the first Indian to enter the Monte Carlo Masters singles main draw in 42 years. A British marathon runner named Russ Cook scripted history yesterday. He completed his run across the entire length of Africa. The 27-year-old embarked on the journey last April from Cape Agulhas in South Africa. Over 352 days, he completed 16,000 kilometers through 16 countries along Africa's west coast. Cook is the first person to run the length of the entire continent. In Formula One, Red Bull star racer Max Verstappen was back to his winning ways. The triple world champion cruised to victory at the Japanese Grand Prix yesterday. Verstappen finished 12.535 seconds ahead of his compatriot Sergio Perez. Carlos Sainz of Ferrari claimed the third spot. Moving on to some entertainment news, British race car driver Lewis Hamilton regrets turning down the offer to star in Tom Cruise's Top Gun Maverick. During an interview, he revealed that he was offered the role of a pilot in the film, but due to his busy schedule, he passed on the offer. The racing star also revealed that he became good friends with Tom Cruise after he met him on the sets of Edge of Tomorrow. Godzilla x Kong is continuing to dominate the North American box office. In its second week, the film reportedly collected over $30 million in the United States and Canada. The film's global box office collection now stands at approximately $360 million. The story follows an enormous gorilla and a reptilian giant teaming up to save their species along with humans. Meanwhile, British actor Dev Patel's Monkey Man has collected an estimated amount of $10 million in ticket sales. The film released in over 3,000 theaters in North America. According to reports, the film was produced on a budget of $10 million, which means that the film has turned out to be a profitable one. The film is based on Hindu deity Hanuman. Indian film Hi Nana, which translates to Hi Dad, won the Best Feature Film at Athens International Art Film Festival. The film features actor Nani and Mrunal Thakur in the lead roles. The story is about a single father who looks after his sick daughter. The film released in theaters last year in December. Disney has announced the release dates for some of its upcoming films. The iconic duo of Woody and Buzz's Toy Story 5 will release in July next year. The highly anticipated live-action remake of Moana will be released in November this year. Additionally, The Mandalorian and Grogu will make their big-screen debut in May next year. The upcoming show, Becoming Karl Lagerfeld, was premiered at the Cannes. According to reports, the premiere received a standing ovation lasting 3 minutes. The show is about the late German designer Karl Lagerfeld's career and love life. It will stream on Disney+. Beyoncé's album Cowboy Carter has reached the #1 spot on the Billboard 200 Albums chart. The Billboard 200 chart ranks albums based on their digital sales and online streaming. The top spot signifies that it had the highest streaming sales in the United States. This is Beyoncé's 8th #1 debut on Billboard 200. South Korean boy band The Boys have announced their third world tour, Generation 2. The tour will start in Seoul from July 12th. The group will then travel to places like New York, Los Angeles, Bangkok and London. More dates and locations will be later revealed. One of rapper Drake's All A Blur tour concert turned out to be a blessing for a fan. In a video that is now going viral, Drake is seen stopping his concert midway. He's seen promising a young woman that he will pay the legal fees for her divorce proceedings. The rapper didn't just stop at this, but also offered to pay for her first date after she becomes single again. The 2024 CMT Music Awards ceremony took place in the United States state of Texas. The CMT Music Awards is a fan-voted award show for country music videos. The American singer and rapper Jelly Roll won 3 awards with Video of the Year, Male Video of the Year and CMT Performance of the Year. Singer-songwriter Lainey Wilson took home the Female Video of the Year award for Watermelon Moonshine. Pop duo Dan plus Shay won the group Video of the Year for Save Me the Trouble.
From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.